Hello everybody, my name is a friend and the new Nightmare boss recently came out and me being me, I'm still completing Ghost Ahoy quest even though there's a system update happening, completely unprepared, just doing last minute checks, but one of the fans gave me 1.4 billion or so. Don't worry, I actually took the screenshot of my bank how it looked before because I'm doing that 0 GP to 1 billion and I don't want that to interfere, but this is just to test the boss, have better gear and eventually to test out the weapons because I can sell the twisted bow, and of course after I test all the weapons I'll be giving everything back, so hopefully I don't lose too much money on that. The thing is that right before the boss came out, everything was going up in price like crazy, like those items that people thought that, oh, maybe that's gonna be useful, maybe that's gonna be useful, so I'm like, I'm gonna go buy a trident. It's 5 million, and I recently, I think a couple days ago, I sold the magic fang for 5.2 mil. I tried to increase by 5%, it's not selling. Okay, kinda expected. I increased by 10%, not selling. I think I had to increase by 15 or 20%. I paid 7 million for a trident that was also did not even sell instantly. I had to wait a little bit and then eventually it sold. So a lot of item prices before the boss came out were fluctuating like hell. Well, it turns out that the boss is not weak to range at all. Like, it was terrible hits. I was barely hitting anything. All these guys using melee were actually dealing damage while Twisted Bow was just doing nothing. So I tried a couple times and I can see it's not luck based, it's just terrible. It's just the worst thing to use at the boss. But the problem was that the market in Grand Exchange was crazy at this point. I bought Pegasian boots for 35 million and I only managed to sell them for 31 point something. And it took me like 1 hour to sell these boots. They were just not selling at all. And this is in a time frame of me trying the boss like 3 times or something, like literally half an hour maybe. That's how much it crashed. But then everything started crashing. I don't even want to know how much Twisted Bow was at the time, but it couldn't sell any range gear at all. Tried to sell the Archer's Ring, not selling. Tried to sell the Armadillo crossbow, not selling. Have to go like 10-15%. Twisted Buckler, that took me like 1 hour to sell minus 10%. Basically, what was not needed for the boss, I think a lot of people dumped it in the Grand Exchange. And even things like Elder Mole, I think it was 16 million, the medium price, and then it went up to 19 million. Also had to increase by like 10-15% until it finally sold. Basically, whatever was needed for the boss was increasing in price heavily. So if you want to access the boss, it's very easy. All you have to do is to have access to Mauritania, so just Priest in Peril quest, although it's recommended to complete Ghost Ahoy quest because that will, you can use Ectophile and you can teleport very close to the boat where you have to pay 10,000 gold. And as far as I've heard, it's actually quicker to do this method than using the Dracon's Medallion. Now, the boss is instance, but it's a very interesting concept they made. You cannot choose your own team. So if you have like 4 people, I mean, technically you could do it, but not at this time. It's just way too popular. There's only one boss that can be fought per world. Anyone who disturbs the nightmare, you can just go in the instance. You can't kick anyone out. There is no friend chats that you can go to. Basically, any noob could go in and you will have to be with that noob unless you want to leave or log off and find another world. Basically, it's like free for all, although the more contribution you do to the fight, the more chances of receiving better loot. Now, mostly it was received as a very positive boss, and that includes myself. I love the boss. There's a lot of mechanics. Even though they're the same each fight, there is nothing that will catch you off guard. Let's say some new thing that pops out. Although it's very randomized. So from the very beginning, from the first phase, you're gonna have to flick between range and magic. Although when we didn't know what to do, we just prayed magic, and that also works, but you're gonna use up like double the food, which means you're gonna have to bank often. Probably gonna just do 1 kill. Also, if any of you remember Next from RuneScape 2, it's pretty much the same shadow things that appear on the floor and you have to just move away. But I think the time is only 2 game ticks. So when we went to Australian world, it was terrible. So every time the phase ends, you have to charge these totems, and we found out later, because more and more people started using it, you can use a trident to hit massive damage. Like, I was hitting like 54s, and there's no way I can hit that with regular trident, you know. So it seems like the damage is amplified. I don't know if it's for all weapons or if it's just tridents, but you don't need any magic gear. You can just have full bandos on you, and you can use trident on these. Now, every time the phase ends, there's gonna be these sleepwalkers spawning and walking to the center, and this is when they talked about the one-hit mechanic. If you allow all of them to pass through, now it never happened, so I'm going to assume that you're gonna get one hit, like everybody in the room. So when it spawns, you have to kill these sleepwalkers. They have 10 HP each, but you always deal maximum damage on them if you click attack. It's kind of like his spotty, those 4 flowers that spawn. So because of that, it's better to use something like a blowpipe or darts to just quickly like 1, 2, 3 and like 3 dead. Now the second phase has these parasites, which the boss will literally impregnate you with. It says that in the chat, like I'm not making this up. The boss will impregnate you, so you can be pregnant in RuneScape since today. There's nothing you can do about it. It will choose a random person and it will shoot things at you. And at first we didn't know what to do, and we were getting hit by 60 because once the parasite pops out of your body, it's massive damage. Well, turns out if you drink a Sanfu serum, which by the way also went from 23k to 30k as of making this video right now, if you drink it, it will deal 6 damage instead of 60. So make sure every time you take Sanfu, it just helps to reduce the damage. And once the parasites are popped out, it's so extremely useful to use NPC indicators in RuneLite. You want to kill them as soon as possible because they're gonna start healing the boss for like 60s, 70s, and 80s. Just massive damage. You don't want to have them around. And again, after the second phase ends, you're gonna have to kill all the pillars while the second phase mechanics still going to be in place. So while you're killing the pillars, the parasites may still keep spawning. Pretty much the second phase is the longest one because they can heal and they will spawn most likely at least one time during the whole phase. And the third one is kind of just damage. You just damage. Sometimes it will make your run energy go off and it will like do the swiping attack for massive damage, but it's not lethal. It's for 60. So make sure all the time you're killing the boss, you just have your full HP. That's what I try to do. It's kind of annoying because you have to repot all the time, like drink this super combat potions all the time. Seems like a waste. Like the whole inventory costs 220,000. But hey, you never know once you're gonna get that 1 billion drop. Could happen. Now, even though you can find any team you want by just hopping worlds, it's really not recommended to do it that way unless you find like really high level players, because most of the time like 30% or maybe half the people just die and you're left with your supply is going to be sapped. You will not be able to do a second kill. So if you want to find people who know what they're doing, or if you're new and want to try to learn everything, there's a lot of, I'm sure there's a lot of people who are going to help. There's this Discord channel called God Wars CC. These were the guys who gave me or lent me 1.4 billion. So I kind of want to give it back. It's not just for the new Nightmare boss, it's for God Wars Dungeon if you like have no teammates to go. It's like a PVMing Discord channel. You can join it, chill there, see how it goes. Maybe you're gonna find a team. Who knows, maybe you're gonna get something from the Nightmare boss. Now, let's get into the boss loot. And oh boy, from the very first skill, I was like, I actually got one of the best drops in the first skill. I got like 140 rune arrows. So at first I was like, okay. Somebody said he got 5 bass, unnoted 5 bass. And I thought he was joking. Until I got 5 bass. Or was it 3 bass? I can't remember. It is terrible. But that is something what people asked actually for quite a while. People were complaining that Zelda drops a lot of skilling supplies. So it drops down the prices of like magic logs and like pretty much anything that can be skilled. So they were asking for that, and this is one of the few bosses where you get nothing, but it's almost like a spit to your face. Like, I guess not anymore since now it's fairly easy to kill it, but in the beginning it was pretty challenging. And when you see like 900 pure essence, which is less than 2,000 gold, it's not motivating, especially since the whole inventory costs 220,000. Wait, didn't I get like 2 or 5 magic logs noted? Like 2 unnoted sharks? That kind of stuff. The most expensive drops that we've seen, because I've went with 2 other people, all of us combined, and we did 20 kills, so 60 kills in total. The most expensive one was 2 prayer potions, unnoted, 3 dosed, and that's it. But apparently the weapons are very, very high in price. Like I said, they're over 1 billion at the making of this video. But the problem is that my stats are not maxed. Even though I can contribute fairly okay, you know, killing parasites and just killing the souls with the darts and stuff like that, the more damage you deal, the more chances I think that you will receive the drop. So if the boss actually drops the... Is that how it works? If the boss drops the staff, then it rolls between all of people. Actually, I don't know what I'm talking about. I know that contribution is needed, basically, for better loot. But yeah, also I'm planning to do loot from 100 or even more bosses in the future. So for now, the progress 0 GP to 1 billion is stalled. If I get anything good, it will not go towards that, since I'm using lend gear, lend potions, lend everything. Hey, I just want to have some fun at the boss. Anyway, guys, thank you very much for watching this video, and thank you to the clan chat. Yes, if you want to check out the Discord, if you want to join just overall PVMing, not just Nightmare Boss, anything, God Wars, and so on, just a community. And I'll see you in my next video, which will most likely going to be tomorrow, unless I cannot buy the weapons, because I have like 1.4 bill. If it's too expensive, I cannot buy it. Okay, bye.